And welcome back to the sauna where we're heating up as much as the tournament is. Here we have another great match for you with the Kadeshi versus W Space.
This is definitely interesting comp brought by W Space, a triple Gnosis setup. It's not something we've seen much of here, but definitely got a shield-based Gnosis setup. We have a Tengu, Basilisk, some Moas, a Vexer, so a fair bit of damage could be coming out of these, and these Gnosis are a little unpredictable. They have so many bonuses, it's hard to know what they're going to be bringing.
And on the Kadeshi side, we have a Claymore with triple Ishtars, couple of Xers, and a Blackbird thrown in just for good measure with a couple of Moluses, providing some dams. What do you think W Space is going to be, what kind of weapon systems do you think they're going to be feeling on these Gnosis?
Trying to look. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those look like medium blasters.
They do indeed.
Yeah, so that's a very ballsy comp. They're going to go in right into their face and see what they can do. Now, there's quite a bit of distance between them. The entire Kadeshi team warped in at 50 kilometers. So they have a long way to go to get there. We'll see if they can make it across without losing too much of their damage. But and we have tracking disruption coming down from Kadeshi already, a little bit also coming off of W Space, tracking disrupting a retribution.
That's right, and the Kadeshi in the red here, what we see them doing is kiting away, moving away from the oncoming W Space rush and trying to do as much damage as possible before they land on top of them. It's really going to be a key on if they manage to shed away enough of the damage from the W Space side before their Vexers get caught up.
And that Gnosis is a shield tank. He's ASB fit, I'm guessing, but the Basilisk is jammed out. There are no remote rep effects coming across on him. The Gnosis is now scrammed. He's gotten close range, but he has no armor left and is barely clawing back shields, and the Basilisk still has no lock. I don't know if it's the damping now or the jamming that's keeping him from repping, but that Gnosis is in low structure and he's about to explode.
On that side, the Kadeshi, however, loses a Vexer before W Space Gnosis goes down. The first blood goes to W Space, but they trade a Gnosis for a Vexer, a battle cruiser hull for a cruiser hull.
And here we go with another Gnosis taking substantial damage. He's no shields, into armor. Basilisk still repping absolutely nothing. Here comes the first remote rep we have seen all match long. Will it be enough to keep this Gnosis up now? It's just quite a bit of DPS they have gone face first into. They do have webs on the Blackbird, Retribution, and Vexer, and appear to be primarying the Vexer, but that Gnosis is barely hanging on.
Absolutely. This Basilisk pilot must have stayed too far back, did not manage to claw back the distance required to apply reps to this Gnosis, and it is too little too late as the Gnosis is starting to take whole damage. Once this Gnosis goes down, that is two of the main damage ships gone from W Space's side, while the second Vexer on the Kadeshi side is barely dipping into hull, and it's now starting to bleed hull, but now two Gnosis is down. This is not looking too good for W Space.
Absolutely. It's amazing to me that Basilisk looks like he's only jammed by ECM drones. If he is in fact jammed, it may just be the dampening that he's too far off of his team to rep. He is quite a distance away from the rest of his team, maybe over... it's hard to tell exactly from this angle, but that's maybe at least 50 kilometers, so he might be right at the edge of his rep range as it is. And he's really not applying any of his reps. We have a Merlin now going down. Looks like they're putting some damage on the Basilisk, although it's just, I think, the support mostly that's on him and some drones. So they're not probably going to break him unless they switch targets. But right now, I think all they need to do for Kadeshi is mop up that Gnosis. Yes. Meanwhile, they're down two Vexers. They have a webbed Ishtar that looks like he's going to be in trouble here before too long. But I don't know if W Space has enough DPS left on the field to turn this match.
Now the Basilisk on the W Space side being scrambled and caught. He is not able to MWD away. He is bleeding shields at a really fast pace, and once that Basilisk goes down, it is going to essentially be a cleanup job for the Kadeshi. Kadeshi is primering an Ishtar on Cladis, while also shooting the Blackbird with those Merlins and a few of the Moas perhaps. I know we laughed a little bit about the single Blackbird, but it looks like that one Blackbird may have come prepared with Goldari jammers.
Yeah, it seems like it was just enough. I always am dubious of just a single Blackbird, a single ECM ship. It's a dice roll, and if it doesn't work, then you've wasted your 7 points in your ship slot on a fairly flimsy ship. In this case, it seems to have paid off. That Basilisk was absolutely useless through no fault of the pilot, as far as I could tell. It was simply that he was unable to lock targets in rep. I saw, I think, exactly 2 rep cycles off of him on the second Gnosis, and other than that, very, very little coming down from him.
That's right, and if this Blackbird indeed was fit with a full rack or perhaps skewed towards Kaldari jammers, what these two Moluses were able to do is swap over to the Scanrest scripts and put Scanrest dampenings on the Basilisk. So even if he did manage to break ECM for a minute, it wasn't enough for him to essentially apply any reps whatsoever. And as we see, the Basilisk has now died on the W Space team, with the Gnosis now, the final Gnosis in structure, eating dirt, and it is gone out of here.
W Space team is not giving up. That Ishtar is in pretty low armor. The reps are now going to probably hold it. The Gnosis is down, but they actually have a fair amount of DPS still on the field, and then Kadeshi can't get lazy here. It's interesting to see a Claymore in an armor setup. Incidentally, you can actually armor tank a Claymore. It is not something I recommend, but there is someone in my lines who does it simply to run it with armor fleets and get those links. It's not pretty. It works. It has about as much EHP as the shield fit. But that may be what they're doing here, and they just wanted the speed to be able to kite around.
Yes, and as we see, Kadeshi is rightly so priming these MOAs, getting more of the damage out. The Ishtar now is able to tank quite comfortably. It's pulling back all of its armor, didn't really lose any struck, so either the Blackbird has stabilized as well, and yes, the W Space team, unfortunately, like their expensive dreads, seem to be losing a tournament as well.
It's kind of an interesting choice to me to have that Tengu in there. It just seems kind of arbitrary, and the rest of the setup seemed to be a blaster in your face. Let's get on top of them and apply a lot of damage, and then randomly let's spend 16 points on a ship that's going to kite around the arena.
That's right.
I'm not entirely certain about that choice, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure it would have mattered. Kadeshi's setup was very effective against what they brought. It shut them down very well. They were able to, like you said, jam out the logistics and just plow through the rest of the team. We have one Merlin and the Tengu left. For W Space, Kadeshi now just on mop-up duty. We'll see if these guys up to end this mercifully soon, or if they. The Tengu looks like he's caught, so that will he will not be long for this world either.
And it looks like the Tengu is caught with the scramble. However, he seems to be an afterburner fit, with still doing about 560 meters per second. Unless somebody gets a whip on top of him, he is going to be able to kite away quite successfully.
We'll see if somebody gets on top of him here right now. We see more frigates closing in, and it looks like the Ishtars are now also getting into range. We'll see if anyone has a web.
Of course, the Ishtars being able to drop curators or bouncers and apply damage to really far range. They do not seem to have any trouble hitting this Tengu here. And the Tengu is starting to take damage with 3.5 minutes left on the match. This Tengu is going to die, and then it's going to be a matter of just getting in range of this Merlin, which has now been scrambled, also caught, and will be taking some damage from these assault frigates momentarily.
We have that Blackbird even going mad mode, going just point blank on the Tengu and saying, let's get this over with. I'll overheat my light missile launchers or whatever he has in his highs and try to get this guy down.
Why not? He could be fitting blasters as well. Who knows?
I think I see missile effects coming off of him, but either way, I don't imagine he's got, if he's got no tank, he can fit some sort of heavy, I think, but yeah. Either way, that Tengu is gone. Just a Merlin that is caught, should die shortly. A very decisive win for Kadeshi, getting the, looks like it'll be the full 100 points, and only trading 2 Vexers for it, so a very good showing.
Absolutely, this is a great showing for the Kadeshi, really getting their gear back into the tournament. It was not a bad showing from W Space either. A little bit strange picking with the Gnosises, but did not do too badly. Unfortunately, they just lost the DPS race, and that single Blackbird or whatever was putting those jams onto the Basilisk just managed to get some really lucky cycles, perhaps with overheated jammers, Kaldari racial jammers. With that, the final ship is gone out of here, and the Kadeshi takes a match with a clear victory, and we're going to pass you back to the studio with that.